Alright, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Pariah here, and I'm going to be bringing you today a video tutorial on how to do different things within certain 3D applications that you might be using. I'm primarily going to be using 3D Studio Max because that's what I've been working with for the past, I'd say about 10 years, since about release 4 from 3D Studio Max, and yeah. The primary focus for these videos is going to be how to generate different things for Minecraft videos, because I've seen quite a few tutorials on how to make like the items or the characters or different worlds, and I figured that I figured I'd give just maybe a little bit more advanced, because most of the tutorials I've seen, especially for items, have just been block by block tutorials on how to do them. And it's really basic, and you really don't learn anything from it other than how to copy and how to paste and how to move, and that's about it. So this tutorial is hopefully going to teach you some more fundamentals that you can take and use, not just for Minecraft videos, but for just about anything that you want to do when it comes to 3D modeling. So today we're going to be working with the pickaxe. Right here is what the pickaxe will look like when we're finished. Here's another view of the pickaxe with our little Steve over here waving at the camera, and yeah. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to need to open up our Minecraft.jar, and we're going to need to go to our GUI folder and go down to the items and copy it over to the folder that we're going to be using. Now, what we want to do is we want to go into a vector editing program. For me, I'm going to be using Photoshop because that's what I always use, and that's what I'm most familiar with. You can use CorelDRAW or GIMP or whatever you've got at your disposal. And then we want to go to our folder that we just put that PNG in, and go ahead and open it up. And we'll go ahead and zoom in so we can see our actual object. And let's go ahead and make sure our marquee select is on, and go ahead and select the pickaxe. Now, since it's a PNG, it's going to be, especially for Minecraft, it's got these gray and white squares in the background, which means that it's transparent behind all these objects. So if we've got a little excess around the pickaxe like we do up here and down here and over here, then it's no biggie, because it's not going to select the actual transparency. It's just going to select the pixels where there's actual color in. So let's go ahead and select all that, hit Control C to copy it, and we'll go up to File, hit New, and we'll go ahead and name it Pickaxe, since that's what it is. And what you want to take note of is the width and the height for the picture itself. And since we just copied that the pickaxe over, it's 13 by 13, and that's going to come into account when we're actually modeling. So yeah, we'll go ahead and keep that on our heads, 13 by 13. Go ahead and hit OK. So we've got our new 13 by 13 image. Go ahead and zoom in so we can see this, and then go ahead and hit Control V, go ahead and paste it in, and there we go. We've got our pickaxe. Now go ahead and go up to File, save it out. I'm going to save it as a JPEG. Go ahead and save it out. Yes, good to go. Now, what we want to do is we want to go into our 3D application. Like I said, we're going to be using 3D Studio Max for this. And let's go ahead and minimize everything else so we don't get any artifacting. And go ahead and open up a brand new file. And in 3D Studio Max, we're going to go to the front viewport. You can hit either Alt-W on your keyboard, or you can hit this maximize, minimize viewport toggler down here. And we want to go to the front view because that's going to be the easiest view for us to see the whole pickaxe itself. Now, what we want to do is go over to our Create panel, make sure that geometry is selected, make sure standard primitives is selected, and make a plane. Doesn't matter really how big the plane is, because we're going to be editing it anyways. So go ahead and click drag it out, doesn't matter where it is, because we're going to be moving it as well. Go ahead and move the selection, and we're going to go ahead and center it to the world. So there we go, we've got it centered. Now with it selected, we want to go to the Modify panel and scroll down to the properties that we've got over here. And we want to make our length and our width and our height from the actual picture itself. So for the pickaxe, it's going to be 13 by 13 because it was a 13 by 13 pixel image. And for the length segments and height segments, we want to go to 13 pixels by 13 pixels. And we're doing that because per pixel we want to have a box. So we've got a 1 by 1 box here. We've got height and width 1 by 1. There we go. It's good to go. Go ahead and rename this pickaxe. Aha, there we go. Alright, so now we can, what we can do is we can change this to a smooth highlights with our edge faces so we can see all the different vertices and the different polygons. We'll go ahead and go to our perspective view and do the same thing so we can see everything. There we go. It looks nice and pretty. Now we want to open up the material editor. That's shortcut M on your keyboard, or you can just click up here on the material editor. And we want to create a new material, just a standard material. So with one of these selected, you can click on the Arc Design, and we don't want it to be an architectural or design material. We just want just a base standard material. So go ahead and select standard, and what we want to do is we want to put that JPEG of the pickaxe that we just created onto this plane. And the way we do that is go to our diffuse over here, and we've got a color, and then off to the right hand side we've got this little box, and this little box represents a map that can be placed onto the actual diffuse. And we can make that whatever we want. We can make it noise, fall off, what have you. For this, we want it to be a bitmap. Now, when it says bitmap, don't think that it's just restricted to just BMP images, because it's not. There's a whole slew of images that you can use. And for this, we're going to be using the pickaxe.jpg. Go ahead and click on open. And if you take a look, an actual look at the image, or the material itself, the image is just it's scaled really bad. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that use real world scale is turned off. So there we go. We've got the nice image of the pickaxe on there. It looks kind of like poo because it's on a sphere, but we can also change that. So there we go. We've got the pickaxe, and you want to make sure that show standard map in viewport is selected. Now go ahead and select the plane and assign material to selection. There we go. Now, if we take a look, we've got all these itty bitty little pickaxes, and we don't want that. So go ahead and select the plane and go to your modify panel, go to the modifier list, drop it down and scroll all the way down to the bottom to where it says UVW map. Now, we want to make sure that planar is selected, and we want to make sure that use the real world scale map size is turned off. And once we've turned that off, ta-da, there we go. We've got this plane that is scaled to the 13 by 13 that just encompasses the entire plane. So now our image is lined up with these 1 by 1 squares, so each square represents a pixel in the actual image itself. And yeah, it looks really nice. So what we want to do now is we can go to our let's go ahead and stay in our front viewport. We want to right click on the plane itself and go down to convert to editable poly. You can convert this to an editable mesh if you'd like, but for me I just use the editable poly more often, so that's what we're going to use for this. Go ahead and with your plane selected, after it's been made in editable poly, go ahead and make sure you're in your modify panel and go to your selection and click on polygon. Now what we want to do is we want to select all the white area, which is just the empty area that's not the pickaxe itself. And you want to also make sure that select object is turned on so that you don't accidentally move any of your selection while you're going through and doing this. So go ahead and go through and select all the empty white polygons. And you can do multiple selection by holding Control on your keyboard, and then if you accidentally, like say you click one of these, you can hold Alt and then click on it, and it just it removes it. So nice little helpful hint. Now with all those selected, we want to go ahead and delete on our keyboard. Now go ahead and turn off the select polygon option, and we'll go back to our perspective viewport, and there we go. We've got our pretty pickaxe. Now, go ahead and select the pickaxe again, and we see that it's got no real depth. It's not really 3D per se. It's more so 2D because it's just a flat plane. So we want to give it some depth. Now, to do this, we want to select our polygon selection again and hit Control A on our keyboard so it selects everything. And we'll go down here to Edit Polygons and click on the Settings button next to Extrude. Now when we do that, it default sets it to 10, and it's not pretty whatsoever. So what we'll do is we'll change this height right here to 0.5. And the reason we're going to be doing that is because after we've done all this, we are going to be mirroring the object so that it makes it one whole object, and we want to have 0.5 here because we want to have uniform 1x1 squares per pixel. So with our pickaxe selected, after we've turned off our polygon selection, go ahead and go to your modifier list, drop it down, and scroll down to symmetry. Now symmetry by default flips or mirrors over the x-axis. We don't really want that because right now it looks like a diamond kitty cat helm, and that's not really what we're looking for. So to flip it over the correct axis, we want to flip this over the Z. Now we've got this pretty pickaxe, and we can see that that it's the 1x1 pixels on the top and the sides and everything else, so it's all uniform. But the only problem is when we mirrored it, it created this big seam down the center. Now, to get rid of that seam, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is we want to right-click, go to Convert to Editable Poly, do that again so it collapses everything. Another way you can do it is go over here and right-click on the modifier list, and then hit Collapse All, hit Yes, and there we go. It collapses it down to the Editable Poly. Now, to get rid of the seam in the center, what we need to do is we need to go over here to Edge Selection. And we want to go to a top-down view or a bottom-up view so that we can see the actual seam itself. Now, what we want to do is we can take, click, drag, select, but as you can see it selects all these other edges as well, which, I mean, that's fine if you just want to hit the shrink tool, but another thing that you can do is just deselect everything, go over here to the window crossing, and what that does is it tells 3D Studio Max that to only select everything that is in your actual marquee selection. So there we go, we've got our center selected. Now, with all those selected, we want to right click on them and click remove, and there we go. Go ahead and turn off all our selections, and that's our finished product. That's what we've got. Now, the materials on here aren't quite right, but I'm not going to be covering those right now. I'll be covering those in another video. It'll actually probably be my next video because it would just be probably the best way to do it. So, yeah, that's what we've got. So let's go ahead and save her out. Tutorial, make it our picks. Yep, there we go. And there we go. We've got our pickaxe, and it's ready to use for different videos. Now, one thing that I want to cover really quick is within videos that I do for Minecraft, the actual squares themselves, I make them 3 units by 3 units, and that is just because each block in Minecraft is represented 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter. And as you can see, a 3 by 3 by 3 block is considerably smaller than the 13 pixel by 13 pixel pickaxe that we've got. And what you can do is just scale that down to a 25 absolute value, and then once you get everything centered up, you can actually see the scale difference is it's pretty accurate. You can actually scale it down to probably 20% if you really wanted to, not 200 and 220. There we go. So yeah, about 20% looks about right, and that's what you get. That's your finished product. So stay tuned. I will be bringing more video tutorials in the future. Please like, rate, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Much appreciate it, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks.